Forget all about your lifetime subscription that you paid for to support the plugin during its development prior to them buying it, and pay again.
What? It doesn't say that anywhere. What's going on, folks? It's Dave here from Profitable.Tools, and today we have some drama to address inside of the WordPress ecosystem. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the folks over at Delicious Brains sent out an email to everybody who owns an Advanced Custom Fields Pro lifetime license, kind of asking them for more money. Now, I don't actually have a problem with companies asking for more money. It's simply the way they approached this that I think was the problem. Now, people have been going bonkers about this. In fact, Paul over at WPTuts posted a new video. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to be reacting to it in a moment here, but the thumbnail was just simply the word no with an exclamation mark. So he's very clearly upset about this email. Is it justified? Are people getting worked up about something that is meaningful, or do we like to just kind of get worked up about things? That's what we're going to get into. Let's check out what Paul has to say. Generally, I think Paul is a very level-headed guy, so I'm really looking forward to his take on things.
So if you're an Advanced Custom Fields or ACF Pro user and you bought the lifetime deal a couple of years ago, you've probably received an email from Delicious Brains, the new owners of Advanced Custom Fields Pro. And I'm going to give you my opinion on this and why I think it's such a bad move.
Okay, so Paul very clearly thinks this is a bad move. We knew that from his thumbnail. I have a feeling that he has a different take on it than I do. He probably is siding with a lot of the other reactions that I saw where they felt like people were just getting screwed out of their lifetime licenses. But if you read that email, it's very poorly written, but at no place does it actually say, "We're taking away your lifetime license. You must continue to pay us." Okay, so Paul is going through and reading the email from Brad at Delicious Brains. He's doing it line by line. I'm going to cut that out of the video here, but I'll just summarize for you. In the first line, it says, "I know you already have a lifetime license for ACF Pro." There's a mistake right there. So the point of this email is to encourage people to support development of ACF Pro. They should have made that very clear from the beginning of the email. The headline, the subject line of the email should be, "Help us continue to grow ACF Pro." Make it a rallying call, because you know what? ACF Pro is a beloved plugin. It's been in the WordPress ecosystem for a very, very long time. And just about everyone who's hardcore about WordPress already has ACF Pro lifetime because it was available for a very cheap price. I think like under $100 for many, many years. Now, it was also available for that price very recently, like up to 18, maybe 20 months ago, you could still get a lifetime license. So if they'd led with, "Let's help grow ACF Pro" as the subject line, setting the tone of the email correctly, then I think we'd be having a lot different discussion here. Now, that first line that I said was a mistake. "I know you already have a lifetime license for ACF Pro." That is a very bad way to address your most passionate customers. They should have said, "Thank you for being a lifetime supporter of ACF Pro. We at Delicious Brains acquired ACF Pro because we love WordPress, and we feel like this plugin is a core feature for WordPress, and we wanted to take it under our responsibility to see this plugin grow and flourish." They didn't take that approach. They kind of just said, "We would like you to consider signing up for a discounted subscription." So that is where people are really kind of losing touch with reality. Let's see what else Paul has to say.
Basically, what they're saying is, if you have a lifetime license, you should feel so grateful to the developers for doing the job that they should be doing after purchasing this product, that you should forget all about your lifetime subscription that you paid for to support the plugin during its development prior to them buying it, and pay again.
What? It doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say you should give up your lifetime license. It doesn't say that you have to pay again and you should just, bow down at your knees, do the whole Wayne's World, "We're not worthy," and worship the ground that we walk on. It doesn't say anything like that. It just says, "We hope you'll consider supporting the plugin to let our developers know." I mean, they're trying to say what I said earlier. They're trying to say, "Hey, you know what? We bought this plugin," not really realizing there'd be no continuing revenue. We didn't think through that. It was a big screw up on our part. They should come out and say that. But you know what? We love this plugin. We want to grow it. We have good ideas for what else Advanced Custom Fields can do. But in order to do that, we're going to need some money because developers got to eat. It's not free to hire developers. They're very expensive. So if you'd like to consider helping ACF grow, you can sign up to support the continued development. They should also make it very clear that you'll never lose your lifetime license. You have a lifetime license. They don't do that. In fact, they kind of say the opposite. They say, oh, does it seem stressful to switch over your license code? Well, why should they have to switch their license code? That code should be there forever. You shouldn't take that one away. This should just be an additional license that lets you just throw them a little bit of money.
So not only will you be paying another fee on top of that, but you'll be paying an annual subscription. Let that sink in for a minute. You've paid for it once. They now want you to pay for it again and to continue paying for it just for actually doing what they should be doing, which is developing this in its entirety. That really, really sticks in my throat. Really does. They bought Advanced Custom Fields Pro in the knowledge that there were lifetime license holders out there.
Now, I know that they bought them with the knowledge that there were lifetime license holders out there, but I sincerely think that they did not have a good understanding of what lifetime license holders are like. The type of people that buy them, how they hoard them, and how they defend them with their life. I don't think they had any clue about that culture that is causing this huge ruckus right now. I don't think they're going to dismiss you either. In fact, when they figured this all out, Brad from Delicious Brains issued a pretty public apology on Twitter saying, we're going to honor those lifetime licenses. At no place in this email does it change from that statement. It just simply gives you the opportunity to support them. Lots of companies do things like this. In fact, many YouTubers do things like this. They might already be making money from things like affiliate links and advertising and merch sales, but they might ask you to also support them via Patreon as well. And you know what? Tons of people do so. So really, the issue here, I can't stress this enough, is not about what they asked. It's about how they asked it. It was terrible. The execution and the timing of it could not have been worse. Why do it during Black Friday when everyone is already trying to stretch their budgets and get the best deals? Hey, do you want to just throw us some free money? It's not a good time to ask for charity for a corporation, for a company that's already generating revenue. Not the right time to do that. They should have definitely picked a better time for this entire campaign to roll out. And they should have thought about explaining what they will do with additional funds, not just say, hey, we've put out a couple updates in the last 6 months. Don't you want to see more updates? I get the anger, but I don't think it's directed appropriately.
No, don't get me wrong. If you think that you are making good money and you feel the need to actually purchase additional licenses for ACF Pro because you want to support the developers, that's entirely up to you. No problem with that whatsoever. Showing your support in whatever method you want, there's nothing wrong. Developers do need to be paid. However, guilting existing LTD owners into making them feel that they should be honored that the work is being carried out on this plugin and they should pay that again is frankly ridiculous.
So Paul does seem to agree with me a little bit, or I agree with Paul rather. Just the choice of language was probably not the best. They could have done a better job. I don't really see it as guilting people, but more kind of trying to protect their own skin, right? To not say, hey, we kind of screwed this one up. The way they could have written this email, to continue with my idea before, is to say, we love ACF Pro. We did not think through the fact that people aren't really going to be generating more revenue for this plugin. We want to grow it. Help us out. If you want to help us out, because this is not a cheap endeavor, then you can click this button and sign up for a subscription or even just a one-time additional donation. You know, whatever people would like to contribute, just make it easy to grow ACF Pro and make it, you know, something that is valuable to them so that they feel invested in the company and the plugin to see it grow. Lots of companies do things like this via Kickstarter. There's certainly a way they could have approached this better.
This wouldn't be quite so bad if it wasn't for the fact that when Delicious Brains actually took over the ownership of Advanced Custom Fields Pro, there was also a bit of a problem there where they didn't say straight away whether they would or wouldn't actually honor the lifetime deals. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. This was the response to it. Now, I flagged this up when this first came to my attention in June, and a lot of people hopped on that tweet. It got a lot of shares and so on, and a lot of people were showing the fact that they were unhappy with this situation as well. So Brad, who is one of the guys behind Delicious Brains, came up with this 10-part tweet saying that basically all lifetime deals would be honored. We would never be asked to pay again for whatever version they released. So it wasn't a case of that we had the lifetime deal for version 5 up until 5 point whatever, and then when 6 came out, we'd have to pay again. No, he stated that we would never ever have to pay for ACF Pro again.
And he's still saying that you don't have to pay for ACF Pro again. Nowhere in the email did he say, I'm going to take away your lifetime license. Ha ha ha, I'm rich. No, that didn't happen. He simply just said, if you'd like to continue supporting us, letting our developers know. I admit it's kind of weak. It wasn't very forthright and honest. He should have been more blunt and direct, to the point, and really just explained, hey, here's what's going on. People would appreciate that a lot more.
So now we're not being asked or told we have to pay for ACF Pro. We're kind of being guilted into, well, please show our developers a little bit of love because they're doing their job and you're not giving us any more money. Now, for me, I would much rather see, if you want to make more money, you want to get those lifetime deal owners to put some extra cash into the coffers of Delicious Brains. Why not offer them a discount on your other products? Get them onto that subscription model with your other products. That way, you create a sense of goodwill. You've purchased this, and to show our appreciation for the fact that you have a lifetime deal, we'd like to give you an exclusive offer on our other product or products just because you're a lifetime deal holder. That way, you get access to more products, more tools you might want to use. You get a discount because you've already invested in the early adoption of ACF Pro. Everybody's a winner. This sticks in my throat.
So Paul is still mad. He thinks that they should offer discounts on their other products so that people can continue to support ACF and then still feel like they get something in exchange. The problem I see with this is that there's already very steep discounts for those products available for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. How are they going to discount things even further? I think what makes a lot more sense is to beef up the offering for Advanced Custom Fields. Advanced Custom Fields was promised to never have updates or extra charges added to it. But what if they added more related products or features? Things like custom post types and custom taxonomies. Those would be very clear extensions to ACF that I wouldn't have a problem paying an additional fee for, so that I don't have to rely on other third-party tools to add custom post types to my website. I don't think it's a very big stretch to, generate another 30, 40, 50 bucks out of everybody who's already bought a lifetime license, which is got to be tens and tens of thousands of people, just by thinking about some extra features that you could legitimately charge for that don't really conflict with the idea of giving people lifetime updates to ACF Pro.
I don't like this. I don't like this guilting existing lifetime deal owners into handing over more cash. There's been lots of comments on Twitter about this, lots of different people coming with different opinions. And one of the analogies that came up was, if you bought a car and you paid for that, you wouldn't expect to have servicing and tires and oil changes and things for free. And you're absolutely right, you wouldn't. When you buy a car, if you paid for that outright or your finance had finished on it, you would still expect to pay for all of your servicing, all of those consumables, unless when you bought that car, you bought it with lifetime maintenance and lifetime parts included.
So now Paul is going on and on about this very in-depth comparison to purchasing a car with lifetime maintenance versus buying a plugin with lifetime maintenance. Now, the idea here is, I applaud him for going for this metaphor, but I don't think it really compares because no one is asking for their car to get new features. You don't expect to buy a car and then have it turn into a self-driving car without having to spend a little bit more money down the road. Or maybe you buy a car and it doesn't have remote start. You wouldn't think, all the other cars now have remote start. Why don't you go ahead and add remote start to my car? I paid for lifetime updates, so that's something you could update. Why don't you add it? I just don't think that's a very fair comparison. I mean, there's really no limit to the amount of extra things people will ask software developers to do. Don't get me wrong here. I think that Delicious Brains is, a little bit off in the way they approach this. I don't think they're ever going to take away the lifetime licenses, but I do think that lifetime owners tend to be a little bit aggressive and probably just a little bit out of touch with reality when it comes to the terms that they're actually agreeing to when they buy a lifetime license. So really, all Delicious Brains has to do is keep the plugin working with WordPress. And in fact, that's probably what will end up happening. unless they get a lot of new subscribers to support the plugin. It just will slow down development. It's going to hurt everybody who's looking for new features out of ACF Pro. That's really all it comes down to. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about here. The one thing I would recommend the Delicious Brains folks do is pick up this book, Writing Without Bull. You can probably figure out the end of the title here. It helps people learn to communicate more clearly and more transparently. A lot of the ideas that I addressed in kind of criticizing Brad's email comes straight out of this book and the way that the writer of this book approaches how to communicate with your customers and within your company. So check that out. If you deal with customers or you have to deal with a lot of internal teammates, you could probably improve your internal communication in an afternoon just sitting down and reading this book. It's a pretty quick read. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I do appreciate Paul over at WPTuts making the video, kind of starting the conversation. I just feel like we could bring down the intensity rather than ramping it up. So that's going to do it for me today. If you want to connect, I've got my social media links down below. You can watch one of the other videos up in the corner. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.